right, guys.
We're back. We're back in audio form.
We're back in audio form. That's my band name.
Back in audio form.
Back in audio form. What's going on, guys? We've been kind of absent for a little while. We wanted to kind of take a new route. Maybe not really new, but an additional route, rather, for our page or our channel, JS804. We're still JS804. But this time, we're going to be talking some football. So
Must be the Monday Night Football theme, but that was horrible.
That was not the Monday night. But anyway, we're gonna be talking all things football. I would say we're gonna take a sports route, but that wouldn't be true because we may hit on some topics about other sports and maybe even venture off into other different subjects outside of football. But for now, we have the football blues, and this is the worst time of the season.
Season's over.
Especially with who freaking won. And we're going to go over who our teams are in just a second. But we want to update you on a few things, on a few things that have happened in our lives. One thing is that we uploaded a video in August. That was the last time you heard from us. And so a few life events have happened since then. Very big life events. One thing is I am going to be a father for the first time.
Yeah,
and
Big Daddy.
If you've followed us at all, and you know that Jordan's my brother-in-law, he's going to be an uncle.
Yes.
For the first time.
Yeah.
So that is as of October, and we are due in July, or should I say my wife is due? Like I'm doing any of the work. And then Jordan, I want to fill us in on your most recent.
Yes, and I just got engaged to my beautiful fiance, Leandra.
Oh, yeah, baby.
So we both have a lot of stuff going on. And so there was a lot of the JS804 kind of took a backseat for a little bit to real life stuff for a little while.
But more importantly, we wanted to get all the secondary stuff out of the way, like, our babies and
all the secondary
stuff, and get on the more important issues.
Yeah. We've been dying to talk about some NFL.
I'm just kidding. But we're going to get started here. A couple of routes we want to take is, like I said, football. We love and miss football, and it's going to suck. All right, so Jordan, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Who are the pretenders of the 2017 season, and who are going to be the contenders of the 2018 season? We know Jacksonville was destined to do good the very second they hired Tom Coughlin, got Calais Campbell, got Barry Church, and they beefed up their defense. The Rams came out of nowhere with Sean McVay and were utilizing their talent and finally tapped into that potential. Help me out here.
I thought about like who would be considered probably the one that was gonna have the shortest flame burn, and that was probably gonna be the Rams. As much as I like the Rams and I like what Sean McVay did this year, because obviously Jeff Fisher should never hold a job in the NFL ever again.
What? Man, okay.
Because he also, if you think about it, he actually had Nick Foles under. He had Nick Foles at one point too. It was like Nick Foles. Was he Nick Foles at the Rams?
Yeah. He fired the Rams.
Yeah.
He fired for the Rams.
So now Nick Foles has a ring, and then you look at the Rams and how amazing they did, and then Case Keenum was under Jeff Fisher, and Case Keenum had an amazing year. So basically, every person that he's been under, is now doing successful, and they weren't under him. So, but I think they have a good offense. I think they had some good players, but I think almost like the Cowboys right now, because Samuel's a huge Cowboys fan. Actually, let's just get that out of the way now. He's a huge Cowboys fan, and a Cowboys fan since, I guess, a kid. And I've been watching and he's been watching longer than I have. He's been watching, how long have you been watching NFL for?
Ye old fan. Anyway, go ahead.
The old fan. Well, how long have you been watching?
I'm going, just so I can kind of give you a pre-understanding of my background. So I'd say 2003, 2004, before the Texans were even a team in 2002, the Oilers left in 95. I was only 2 or 3 at that time. And so around, when I was like 6 or 7, I was like, the only team in Texas is the Cowboys. That's where my whole family's from. And I said, I was a Cowboys fan or whatever, but then my mom married somebody from Dallas, my stepdad, and he's a huge Cowboys fan, so inherently I picked up the team that I already said I was a fan of, but not really, and then actually started watching 2003, 2004 during the Terry Glenn, Antonio Bryant, Quincy Carter days. Anyway, so that's my story.
And for me, I probably didn't start to actually get in. So I'm way sooner than him. So I probably didn't really get interested in football. Like, it started getting interested in football like when I was 20-ish, and started watching some here and there. But the last 3 years, I've gotten in it really, really hard. Like, watching it pretty much religiously, and keeping up with it pretty much. And so now I'm pretty much hooked. So you also get a different perspective from someone that's been watching it new, but watching it in hardcore, plus someone's been watching it hardcore for a while now, like almost 20 years. So,
yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So, but
anyway, so who's your team?
For the Pretender team? Yeah,
No. You didn't say who your team was.
Oh, my team, yes. Oh, I almost forgot the best part. So, when I was trying to think of, what team I would follow, because my family is big, not even big, they're, half, you can talk about people that are not, fair weather fans, as my family when it comes to Redskins. They're not, they haven't really been fans. So, I didn't want to be a fan of the Redskins, and, at the time, I didn't live in Minnesota, and I know my cousins are from Minnesota, so they're Vikings fans. So, I just wanted to pick a team. I was like, you know what, I'm going to pick a team and just follow them, and, and that's going to be my team. And so I was like, you know what, I heard Aaron Rodgers is good, and this is before I really started watching football. And so I picked the Packers. And I found out actually that some people on my grandfather's side of the family are huge Green Bay fans, because he actually has some family from Green Bay. So I was like, well, I guess it worked on that. I've got some ties to that area anyway.
But let me put some context. So our name is JS804, and 804 is the area code for Richmond, Virginia. Of course, very close to Richmond, Virginia, only about 2 hours away is Washington, D.C. So inherently and naturally, a lot of people over here are Redskin fans. And so that's where kind of the whole Redskin craze comes from, at least on the bandwagon aspect of your family being.
Yeah, and I honestly I can't even blame them, because the poor Redskins haven't really been relevant at all. They're it's not, you rather be a team that either sucks or is semi-relevant, but they're just like one of those teams that are just bobbing in the water, not really actually ever bad, but never really good. They're just they go 8-8, or 9-7, or 7-9 almost every other year, 6-10. Then maybe they'll do a 9. They're just one of those teams.
They make the playoffs every 3 or 4 years. So.
And I think that's probably because of bad GM decisions and not bad coaching, but that's a whole nother ball game in itself.
Yeah, but we will most definitely hit more on that. But one team I forgot to add is the Eagles, the Super Bowl champions, pretenders. Or contenders. So you said yours is the Rams, correct?
I think the Rams. Yeah, I think the Rams. The Rams did beat some decent teams this year, and I give it. They'll probably be better than they were obviously the year before that. And they'll probably may go positive, but I don't think they're gonna be making the playoffs next year. We'll see. They easily could, but I think the 49ers are in their division, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the 49ers are in their division.
NFC West. And
we're gonna talk more about that too, but you've got Jimmy Garoppolo over there, and they literally beat five good, not 5 good teams, but beat 5 teams in a row.
Yeah.
And they beat the Jaguars, who have, in my opinion,
AFC contenders.
Probably the best defense, and
they were.
Jimmy G literally made them look like kids out there with players that he didn't have Pierre Garçon, he didn't have. He didn't have. Yeah, he didn't know who else he have. I know he's got Carlos Hyde.
I know he had Carlos Hyde. Was it Mark? Not Marquise Williams.
He doesn't have a lot of players.
Yeah, and
not any stars on the 49ers. So I think seriously, for the 2000, if we're talking about pretenders, I'm definitely going to say the Rams. I think they still have
Marquise Goodwin. I'm sorry.
And let's be fair. And that's what I was bringing up the Cowboys earlier. They have Todd Gurley literally was playing out of his mind this season. I know, Tom Brady got the MVP or whatever this last year, but Todd Gurley was he was a monster. He was literally a monster. So I think that being said, if you take Todd Gurley out, that offense is so much more anemic than it could be because he's catching balls. He's he's like the Le'Veon Bell of the West. So
Le'Veon Bell of the West, and I got to agree. I think that the Jaguars, they grew fast, yes, but a lot of the guys are still under contract next year. And a lot of the guys that they signed to help them get where they were, they're still going to be there. The Rams, I feel like they did grow kind of fast, and I don't doubt Sean McVay's. I don't doubt his ability, but I think that the Rams, although they're in kind of in a vulnerable division right now, the Seahawks have really, really been depleted on defense with Cam Chancellor being hurt, with Richard Sherman being hurt. And then I can't think of the guy's name, which is sad, is because Richard.
Richard Sherman?
No. Chris, I think it's Chris Richard. He is the linebackers coach who went over to Dallas. I think he's a safety and linebackers coach now, who was their defensive coordinator for the Seahawks. And so the Seahawks are going to be kind of depleted next year. The Rams, if they, again, still in the division that they're in, I think that they are going to be, they're not going to certainly shine as much as they did this year. I think you have Jimmy Garoppolo coming on, and they're definitely going to put weapons around him. Pierre Garçon will be back. Micah Hyde is a beast. And also
Wait, I think you said Micah Hyde?
Yeah.
He plays with the Bills.
Carlos Hyde.
I was like...
Carlos Hyde, I'm sorry. Yeah, Micah Hyde plays with... And he plays
Trust me, I'm salty that we lost him.
He plays on defense.
Packers.
I'm sorry. Micah Hyde plays on defense. Carlos Hyde is what I meant to say. Okay. All right. And then and then you have the Seahawks. You have the Arizona Cardinals, who knows what they're going to be. So
yeah, they're a wild card. Honestly, nobody knows what they're going to do. You got Larry Fitzgerald, who's only going to play maybe 2 more years, which is sad because the guy should have a ring.
Oh my gosh, I know. So again, I want to put out there, they are in the best position to win football, probably more than any team in the NFL. But I think that they are going to be not as good next year. Will they make the playoffs? They'll probably win the division at 9-7.
Who knows though? Because basically this whole John Lynch, who's the GM for the 49ers, basically said they're going to put every weapon they possibly can around, or everything offensive line to help out Jimmy Garoppolo. And if he plays that good with nobody, seriously, the guy could seriously blow out the division next year, and I would not be shocked. He's very much needs to be on everybody's radar to win. What is it? The AFC.
Who are we talking
about? The division for the Rams.
NFC West.
Oh, NFC West. Okay, sorry. NFC West. I was thinking AFC. AFC West is
the
Chargers and all that other stuff.
It's so confusing now because now you have the LA Chargers, who are in the AFC, and then you have the LA Rams, who are in the NFC, and it just gets really confusing.
Yes.
Which is stupid. Why do they have 2 freaking teams? Makes no sense.
But now we're going to talk about the contenders, because you said which ones are pretenders and which one is the contenders. So,
all right. So
are we now? For me, this is hard because there's so many teams that I think could have won this year. There's a lot of teams. I mean, the Jaguars could have even gone to the Super Bowl this year. They were very, very close.
Let me just say this. The Jaguars are going to have a run for their money because in their division, I think that despite the fact that the Titans were pretty good, they're pretty good. I think that division is always up for grabs. You're gonna have the Houston Texans. You're gonna have Deshaun Watson coming back from the Houston Texans and J.J. Watt. Although, man, that's another neck.
Now, is these rising stars that we think are going to come up? Are we? We're talking about like really good teams that still have a chance of actually winning.
Well, we're talking about rising.
Star. Okay, because I was like, if we're doing this, I'm just gonna pick the Patriots again.
Yeah. Oh, that's like I said. There's 2 constants in the NFL: the Browns sucking
and the Patriots winning.
Who are they going to play in the AFC Championship game?
Yeah, that.
And you could even exchange that for, who are they going to play in the Super Bowl, which is obvious. But now, who are and
rising stars? Basically, who you're saying you think is
rising stars. Okay, call me crazy, but mark it down. I think the Giants are going to win the NFC East next year. I hate to say it, but for some reason the NFC East has this weird juju about it, where if you do good one year, you're probably not going to do good the next year. And it's the Giants' turn to be good in the NFC. Plus, man, look, they were the scarce team. I mean, they were not the scarce. They were the team that was supposed to win this year, but they had injuries with Odell Beckham Jr., Brandon Marshall, Dwayne Harris, and they beefed up that defense.
Well, and Eric Flowers, who was one of their first round picks, he was their linebacker. I can't remember his defense. Was pretty much a bust. He did not. People were complaining about how poorly he played. People were just blowing past him. So, and the other problems the Giants had this year is they don't have a good offensive line. Just straight up, they don't have a good offensive line. That was a problem. They couldn't really keep Eli protected. And at this point in Eli's career, he needs to be cradled like a baby. Like he's not Tom Brady. Tom Brady. If you saw Tom Brady's documentary he just came out with, whatever. Tom Brady takes care of Tom Brady. He's going to make sure that he's able to play, like you said, till 45, and he trains ridiculously at his age. I just don't see Eli Manning doing that. I don't. Eli Manning seems like he's going to. I see where Samuel's saying that they can easily win because they do have like some good players like Odell Beckham Jr. and stuff like that, and they could, but this offseason they're going to have to get some offensive linemen to protect him, because if not, they were showing this year that even before Odell Beckham went down, that they were struggling. They almost beat the Eagles and obviously went into overtime. Did it go overtime or did it went to? It was very end.
It was very
where
close.
Jake Elliott made that kick for 62 yards.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was.
And yeah, so but for me, if we're talking about
also they have Pat Shurmur, who was the Vikings offensive coordinator. And I think that's going to be really...
Well, there's a problem right there. I'm
just kidding. Naturally. Okay, but now that's one contender I have. You can pitch in the other one. I'm talking who's going to be good this year.
I've already
who's going to be good this year.
And I've already alluded this, and I seriously think it because of how well they showed last year, but I seriously think the 49ers are going to win the NFC West. This year? Who else do they have? Oh, here, let's look. Okay, you got the Seahawks, who are kind of having some problems with their defense, and that's really. I'm just saying with their defense, they have problems, and they're not exactly the best on offense. It's literally Russell Wilson plus the rest of his offense, like literally just Russell Wilson. He doesn't have anybody really. Then they don't even have a running game. Literally, they probably have the worst running game in the NFL. Like seriously.
Well, it wasn't like Russell Wilson.
He literally made all the rushing touchdowns. Yeah, like they had one of the rushing touchdown, and they have like 6 running backs. Yeah, we lost Eddie Lacy, and I thought he might actually do something because he was like the poor man's Marshawn Lynch, and the fat man's Marshawn Lynch, but it just wasn't happening. But then you have the Rams, and like I said, I'm not confident that they're going to be able to pull it out next year, and they didn't really have any serious contention. The Cardinals are in disarray. They got Blaine Gabbert, and I'm not saying Blaine Gabbert's bad, but they just lost, their coach, their head coach, Bruce Arians, and he's a legendary coach, and he's probably going to be a Hall of Fame coach.
He's got some weapons, though. They'll have David Johnson back next
year. They'll have David Johnson back. So they were missing David Johnson this year, but, they're...
But here's the thing. Is you want to have a healthy balance, and with David Johnson is if Blaine Gabbert is your starter, which again I'm not saying he's bad, he's actually in a good system
decent.
right now.
I mean he's a decent.
But is David Johnson going to be like playing 60 to 70% of the offensive snaps, and can he handle that coming off of not playing for almost the whole season?
Yeah, I just for me personally, I don't. They're very wild. I don't see them doing insanely good next year because of not even having a good. They're gonna have to have a new coach, and that's a whole thing a lot of times, and that's another reason why I'm apprehensive about the Giants because they're going to have a new coach
I don't care.
as well.
That usually look.
Sometimes it does put a fire into the team. It does.
It
gets the team excited.
Okay,
but I think with Bruce Arians, he's such a legendary coach that it's hard to replace him. And he's a good coach.
He's a quarterback whisperer, and it doesn't matter who you put in that system. He's gonna do somebody good. He's gonna do good with somebody.
But I think saying all that, I think since
49ers,
all I had to see was them absolutely just destroy the Jaguars, and that got me some serious hope because the Jaguars people were going crazy of how good the Jaguars defense. You name any one person on their defensive side of the ball, and I would take them in a heartbeat, no questions asked. They have every person they have some really good players on defense. So, I think they have a serious chance to win the West.
The West. Listen. Let me just say this: they are building something special there.
If they don't win this year, they're going to do well though. I think regardless, they're going to do a heck of a lot better than they did this year. And they went 6-10, right? They went 6-10.
They went 5 and.
No, they won 6-10. Yeah, I mean that's not
because they were 1-10 before Garoppolo came on board, which I don't know why they waited so long to play
because
him.
they didn't want to risk
CJ
him.
Beathard, like seriously.
I think they were just like, hey, let him learn the system. Kyle Shanahan's got a complicated system, and on top of that, they have Kyle Shanahan. Seriously, Kyle Shanahan with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Now here's the thing. Here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're gonna be the team to beat in the NFC West once again, and not this year, but the year afterwards. But I mean, let's look at this. Okay, all right. So when Jimmy Garoppolo came in, right? They beat the Bears 15-14. All right, not bad. It's first game.
Then
they beat the Texans.
Team.
Then they beat the Texans. Okay, 26-16. All right, a little depleted, but not a bad team. Then they beat the Titans 25-23. Then they beat the Jaguars 44-33, and then they beat the Rams, which they rested their starters, but still. So again, I see them being a major contender, not next year, but the year afterwards when they get a few draft picks to help them out. But you want to know who my biggest contender is?
Who's that?
You're not gonna like my answer. The Detroit Lions.
Oh, with Matt Patricia now?
With Matt Patricia. Here's why. There are a few things that the Detroit Lions lack in order to be a really good team, and they already are a really good team. They need a running back, and they need a defense.
Well, they have Darius Slay Jr., who's really good, top 5 cornerback. I personally think.
Yeah.
He's really.
But I'm talking
really
about
good.
some pass rushers.
Yeah,
I mean, I seriously can't think of a good pass rusher on that side. And guess who's a free agent this year?
I don't know. Who's a free agent?
Dion Lewis. Guess who might bring over? Now I understand Matt Patricia, him being the head coach, is going to be he was the defensive coordinator. But listen, man, Dion Lewis is gonna be a.
But to be fair, Dion Lewis
might bring him over.
Didn't take the majority of the snaps when he came to
No, but I mean, look at their backfield. Mike Gillislee got hurt, but you had Dion Lewis, Mike Gillislee.
Talking about a bust. Mike Gillislee was a bust, in my opinion.
James White. How can you take a majority? How can you prove yourself when you have a rotating backfield constantly? Which is again the whole system there over in New England. But that's my pick. That's my biggest pick for next year. I think that they're going to beef up their defense and they get themselves a good running back.
Here's my opinion on the Lions, and I heard someone tell me a shocking stat, and I think I told this to Samuel about Matthew Stafford. He's like 43. It's like I don't remember exact stat, but it's like 43.
It's like 2 and some astronomical number.
No, it's teams. 43 wins to like 100 or it's like 102 losses to teams with a winning record. Ooh. Matthew Stafford is good at padding his stats. He's not a bad player. He's a good player.
I like that,
Matthew Stafford, because he doesn't win. They don't win the division. They remind me of, now they're at the point where they remind me of the Redskins. They're almost there.
They are the Redskins.
They are the Redskins
of
the NFC North. It's honestly, it's either my team, the Packers, or the Vikings are usually fighting for it, and then you have the poor Lions that are like they're the almost there, they almost get there, and then they always fall short.
I'm gonna get a bite of I almost got my bite of the cookie, but
I mean, they looked amazing in the beginning of the season. I actually called them last season to win our division. I did not expect the Vikings to win our division this season because they had all the injuries.
Let me say this: they're a great team because of Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer is an amazing coach. He's a no excuses. I'm going to make adjustments no matter what happens. And so I will say this: I'm not taking anything away from the Vikings. I honestly think it would have come down to the middle. Or it would have been split down the middle, maybe a little bit more in the Vikings' favor. But Aaron Rodgers being gone, and not just Aaron Rodgers being gone, but Brett Hundley being your guys' quarterback,
oh God,
hurt you. Because you can have Aaron Rodgers be gone and have somebody to. Now that he was gone for a long time, but somebody to be there and say, "I'm going to win you 4 games." Since they went in overtime with the Browns with Brett Hundley, man.
Oh yeah,
but
Brett Hundley is no Brett Favre. That's just one thing I learned this season. That is the
what's your nickname for him?
Oh, Brett Fumbly. That's the Brett Fumbly.
Brett Fumbly.
That's the first name because he. Anyway, that we're getting on Packers talk, but yeah, I mean, hey, they have a chance like any other team. They could have one really good year, but I still think they need to pick some people up. Obviously, like you said on defense, get a running game going, because Matthew Stafford, I think he is a good. Obviously, he is a good quarterback. But he's just I don't think he's clutch. That's my thing with I think he can get the ball down the field, but he hasn't really proved to be like super clutch and really
stop it. You know how many fourth quarter comebacks he has?
Oh yeah, I mean does he win the game? Has he got
Yes.
Hey, Clutch is winning your division and he's yet to really when's the last time they've been to win their division?
I don't think the last time they won the division I don't know, but I know the last time they made the playoffs was in 2014.
Yeah,
that's the last time
it's been a while. And I think I said anyway. They could easily if that's their strongest contender. I could see it. I thought this year they were going to be the strongest team because they got T.J. Lang for their offensive linebacker who's from the Packers. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that's true. They did beef up their line.
They beefed up their line. They have a legitimate line. Anyway, so that's his. I think mine would have to be. It's so hard to say. I think I'm going to have to say the Texans because
yes,
the Texans are just like
I am on the Deshaun Watson train, baby.
Deshaun Watson right now is looking like
not right now.
Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers on crack. The guy was making that team look insane.
My God, 19 touchdowns in a 4-5
I think he was projected to have like 43 touchdowns. He would have actually been the MVP.
51 is the most touchdowns ever in a single season by Tom
Probably
Brady.
The best game this season that we didn't get to really watch. I saw parts of it because we were watching Red Zone. Was them versus the Seahawks. That was both like people thought, oh, he's not going to be able to score more than 20 points at the most against the Seahawks, and the guy like hung like 40 points on him. Now they lost, but it was an insanely close game. And he's already running. Deshaun Watson is already running around and he's running on it.
His QBR was freaking 103%. Holy cow, he's a freaking monster. Let me just say this. Here's why I
better than Tom Savage.
Yeah. Here's why I love Deshaun Watson. First of all, I hate the Texans because there is this whole Texas pride of who's Texas team, the Cowboys or the
it's obviously the Cowboys.
Texans.
I'm not even a Cowboys fan. I think it's obviously the Cowboys.
But here's the thing. Deshaun Watson, I picked him up in my fantasy this year, and he accounted for about 30 points. 30 freaking points. He on average got me 30 points a game. And let me just say, I took a gamble on him. I did originally draft Andy Dalton, and I was like, okay, I'm benching him and putting Deshaun Watson. But Deshaun Watson, man, oh my God, 19 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. You know how many?
He's like the Russell Wilson for the Texans.
Yeah,
he's
crazy.
Just that insanely good. And I'm excited for him next year. Hopefully they got like DeAndre Hopkins. He's a legitimate wide receiver. Like he's really good. He did good even when he was with Tom Savage. He was still making plays. So the guy is still really really good. And I think if they can just beef up their team. And if they actually have a season where they actually have J.J. Watt, that would actually be, instead of 2 seasons back-to-back with basically not having, their best defensive player, they might actually do something.
All right, and I'm going to be telling on myself here.
But that's my contender, by the way.
Dak Prescott, yeah, I agree 100%. Dak Prescott had 22 touchdowns, and he played all 16 games. Deshaun Watson only played a handful of games, got hurt, got 19 touchdowns. Like, man, and I don't know. I love Deshaun Watson with all my little heart. But yeah, so that's gonna be your 2018 contender.
I think we need like a 5 minutes of you talk about what you want to see with your team, and I'll talk about what I want to see with my team.
Right.
Just like one thing you want to see happen, and one thing I want to see happen or lose for our team.
Okay, so the Cowboys. Oh, it's kind of hard to gauge where they're at right now, is because they are a good team. They have good talents. They have a good receivers in Cole Beasley, and God, I hope they keep Bryce Butler. He will be a free agent. And Terrence Williams. I like Ryan Switzer. He's not really in the receiving core. He's running back touchdown. He's running back field goals and getting some pretty good yardage behind him. I don't know if I should mention Dez, but what I'd like to see from the Cowboys this year is I'd like to see the Cowboys, first of all, sign some veteran safeties. Hopefully Earl Thomas. Oh my God! Again, like I said, we got Chris Richard. He was the defensive coordinator for the Seahawks, and usually people like to bring other people over when that happens. So I like to see that. I like to see Dak Prescott really get downfield and throw downfield. And his accuracy was horrible this year, man. His accuracy was awful. So
I think the thing with Dak Prescott is you don't want him to turn into a Jameis Winston, where it's like, there's all this hype for the guy, and Jameis Winston's not bad. I'm not saying Jameis Winston's bad.
Let me just say something. He was a 4th-round pick. He wasn't supposed to be anything good. Deshaun Watson was a 1st-round pick. Marcus Mariota was a 1st-round pick, and Carson Wentz was a 1st-round pick.
And that's why I'm saying I think the issue is when you have such a good rookie year that obviously this. Like everybody's expectations, like, oh, this guy's gonna be, he's the man, but oh my gosh, he, like Samuel said, he has to work on his accuracy this season. Like, it's got to be more accurate, and obviously him and Dez Bryant have no rapport with each other when it comes to catching the ball.
No, they don't.
And I mean, not even Dez Bryant's fault only, but Dez Bryant also is not playing like himself. He's playing like crap, and for how much he's getting paid, I think pretty much exclusively, from what I've heard from Cowboys stuff, is that they want him to either, I don't know if it's going to happen, if they're going to talk to him, but I'm sure they are, because I think of the GM, it wasn't the GM, but somebody had came out, not talking negatively about Dez, but basically saying like we expect more from Dez Bryant. He's getting paid, good money, and he's got to perform like he's getting paid good money.
And also too, we got to get somewhat better offensive linemen, or at least some better backups, is because we talked about how good the offensive line is. This year we lost Doug Free, which I never thought I'd come to say, man, I'm gonna miss Doug Free, who was supposedly our weakest link. But we need him back. And then we lost Ron Leary to the Broncos. So on the offensive line, Tyrone Smith was hurt. Jonathan Cooper, Tyron Smith being the left tackle, was hurt quite a few games. That hurt us. Okay, and then you have your left tackle. Jonathan Cooper actually did a pretty good job. Travis Frederick good. Travis Frederick being the center, he still good. Zach Martin being the right guard is good, but the problem is we need a better right tackle. No. I'm sorry. No.
Backup.
Because and then you have your right tackle, who was Lyle Collins, who's a freaking beast. But we need better backups. Chaz Green sucks. Byron Bell sucks. Joe Looney is okay. He's all right. He can keep up a little bit, but if you don't have any sort of rotation, man, and you're relying on those 5 guys, it's not gonna work.
I mean, because this season they were talking about it, and this year the Packers had to have the most rotations of any team with their offensive line. Yeah. Like, it was that bad because of injuries. I mean, we didn't have both of our Berardi, or what the guy's name is. I always get his last name. He's one of our offensive linemen, and he was out for half the season. And I can't remember. I always get their last names all jacked up. But we had 2 offensive linemen that were out, who were our starters, constantly coming in and out because of hamstring problems and other things like that, and groin issues and stuff. But I think the one last thing I want, Samuel didn't touch about the Cowboys is that he didn't have the machine last season eating for 8 for.
You didn't let me get there. You didn't let me finish.
All right.
Yes. Okay. So here's the thing. Dak's got to work on his accuracy. They got to get back. They got to get some. They got to get some experience in the backfield. We got to get some better. We got to get some better backups for our linemen. Zeke, I will fight you. Here's the thing. I hate Cowboy fans, and I'm a Cowboy fan myself. I don't care about your 5 rings. Okay. Although I'm 25. When they were winning Super Bowls, I didn't care about football because I was 3 or 4 years old. So here's the thing. I will fight you all day on if Ezekiel Elliott is being the best running back in the NFL. Dude played 10 games. He was suspended for 6 for no freaking reason, and still got 983 yards. He wasn't the problem. He was the reason, unfortunately, why Dak
they were even
struggled.
In it this year.
Yeah, why we even went 9-7, which we still should have went 10-6 and beat the Seahawks. I don't know why you don't run the freaking ball on the freaking goal line, but and you give it to Dak of all people, as far as accuracy is concerned, you run the freaking ball. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go off on a tangent. But good things happening. Good things are gonna happen in Green Bay. Dom Capers is gone.
And that was one thing that I think every Packers fan have been screaming for a long time. I understand Dom Capers is a little bit of a legend because he's been around for a long time, but the guy just got lazy with defense. I don't know. The guy would just call, one of the games just stink that I remember when I was watching was when we were playing the Lions, and they just kept on blitzing, and it wasn't working. Like, one thing Matthew Stafford is good is he can call defenses. He can see defense all day long. If you just blitz him, he's going to easily just get out of his hand in 2 seconds, to somebody down the field. So that obviously wasn't working, and just a bunch of bad play calls on defense. I think defensively we just have to. There's just no excuse. We absolutely have to get better. We weren't dead last, but we were really, really low. At points we got to 29th to 30th in rushing. We cannot stop the rush. We can't start the run. Our pass defense isn't great. I think we have Davin House as one of our cornerbacks. My biggest thing, and I thought about this, you see him on TV all the time, and it pisses me off the more I think about it. And I was thinking about it the other day. Clay Matthews has to step the hell up. I mean, straight up, the guy does more commercials, does spend more time on commercials than he does actually trying to pass rush. The guy was great when we went to the Super Bowl. That was awesome. He was playing out of his mind, but he gets paid a lot of money, and I think he ended the season. Oh, I have to look this up, but he ended the season with not a lot of sacks. I think maybe 8, which is bad. That's really bad.
Guess who's although he's a linebacker, and Demarcus Lawrence is gonna be a.
Oh, we ain't getting. I mean, as much as I would love to get DeMarcus Lawrence, you Cowboys are going to make sure they keep him.
That's the thing, though, man. Jerry go pays people. Jerry likes to take rookies, turn them into stars. When then they finally earn their pay, he just says, "You know what? I'm not going to pay you."
Yeah, that's.
Then the stars elsewhere. Here's the thing, though, and I know this is really irrelevant to, or it may seem like it's irrelevant to Dom Capers, on how he does things. But look, if you're going to be a defensive coordinator, be with your team out on the field. Don't be up there in the booth scouting, in the nice, warm, cozy box. Be down there with your team. Yeah, I understand Green Bay is a really cold place, but look, I'm not saying that has anything to do with something, but, suffer with your team and go down there. But how many...
Let me put this in perspective. Okay. In 2010, he got 13.5 sacks.
That was the year after they won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
So they were still high.
Yeah. And then in 2011 he was injured. He only had 6 sacks.
No. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. He actually had an off year the next year. You know how it is. You usually win the Super Bowl and you have an off year. I don't know why it's like that, but he had 6 sacks. Then on 2012 he had 13 sacks. Then went down to 7.5 because he was injured a couple games in that season. Then he had 2004. He had 11 sacks, and man, has he gone downhill from then. He's been 6.5 sacks. In 2005, 6.5 sacks.
That was the year before they went to the Super Bowl.
No, that was in that
the Saints with the Super Bowl in 2009. I was thinking the year after the 2010.
Yeah.
So that was a good year.
Yeah. And so he had 6.5 sacks in 2015, and
he got hurt though. He did get hurt for quite a few games.
Not in 2015.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he played 16 games. He played 16 games. In 2016, he was injured for a couple games, but there was only 4 games. He played 12 games. He only had 5 sacks. This year, he played 14 games. He had 8.5 sacks. It's not horrible. It's not absolutely trash, but for how much people hype him up to be, he's very wishy-washy. Some seasons he can be great, and I'm just worried that his focus isn't on football as much as it is about his brand, about his brand of doing commercials. Because some players are like that. Some players about their brand. I mean, and they still have to perform though. You can't not perform.
You know what's funny? Speaking of specifically on what you're talking about, yes, this probably was done during the off season, but he was in Pitch Perfect too.
Yeah, he was in Pitch Perfect. I just rewatched that movie with my fiance. It was really good. But my point is, I think it's kind of like he's almost, I don't say like Rob Gronkowski, but some of these players that want to try to have a film industry outside of football, as like a backup plan. Like even obviously it's on the back burner. But my point is we have to do with him. He's got to be the leader on defense. He's the middle linebacker. He's got to be the big kahuna that leads the team on defense, and we just have to do better on team defense. We just picked up the defensive. Mike Patine.
Oh, that's right, yes.
And he's from the Browns. And I wasn't super excited about it, but I looked up more, and I think it's just the Browns kind of made it bad for them. I don't think it's his fault, particularly to the Browns, but I think that we have to do better on defense. Look for some more players. Get a decent. I think we need better corners. Straight up, we can't defend anybody. Basically, we do decently. Like I said, we have Blake Martinez, who basically led the league in tackles. So we have some decent players. He's a beast. He's young. But on the offensive side of the ball, I'm actually happy. We have 3 good wide receivers. I mean, I think all of our wide receivers are good. And we just got the guy under contract. We got why am I can't even. Haven't you watched Devontae Adams? Yeah, I can't remember my own players, but because I've watched the Packers game in forever.
Yeah.
And so we got him back in our contract. Jordy Nelson will be, will actually have a year this year. I think there was just literally no rapport with him and Brett Fumbly. He just
let him go, man. See, that's the thing, man. Like Aaron Rodgers, he's his second time breaking his collarbone.
And Randall Cobb, like literally, where was Randall Cobb this year? He's like completely forgot about the corn on the cob.
So they need to find a good.
You have to find a backup, like because Brett. And we're gonna get into this later. But the biggest scare for me about the Packers is, and I'm gonna talk about this more in a second. This is one of the things I wanted to bring up is. About when his contract is up, he sees other people are getting paid serious hardcore money, and you never know if he's going to want to go somewhere else and get paid money. Because I as much as I appreciate Aaron Rodgers getting a ring, I don't know how loyal he is to the Packers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is about himself, and that's not necessarily bad or necessarily good.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not saying it's bad. Maybe it's because I'm biased because I'm a Packers fan, but I like Aaron Rodgers. People give crap to Aaron Rodgers because he thinks he's a diva, and I think part of that is true. But he's not, as my opinion, he's not
in the NFL.
Yeah, I think talent-wise,
thrower.
Yes, I think he's the best thrower in the NFL when it comes to the football. Do I think he's the best leader? No, I think Tom Brady probably beats him in that category. I think obviously Tom Brady trains harder than someone. I know people always compare them all the time, but obviously Tom Brady is the best. There's no question. You have 5 rings, but my point is next year we need to work on defense the most. I think our offense is still really good. I think our backups did good on the run game. So I'm confident. We actually had a run game this year. We had to have a run game because we couldn't throw the ball. We couldn't throw the ball 5 yards down the field. So,
can we talk about something?
Yeah, that's
this freaking ridiculous contract that Jimmy Garoppolo was getting.
Yes,
nobody seems to freaking care about.
Yeah, so I was right. 86 million. I said 90 million, so it was 86 million.
All right, this dude.
So let's get into this because this is one of the topics I wanted to talk about.
Jimmy freaking Garoppolo, which again I like him. I think he's good. We were hyping him up a little while ago, but 137 million. 137.5 million dollars, and you know what?
For a 5-year contract.
86 million of that is guaranteed for 7 touchdowns that he had in 2017. Again, I'm not taking away from his talent, but everybody's kind of like, meh, because I guess he left his stock high, man. And I'm just thinking, like, what the heck? Are you freaking? Do you think he deserves that?
I think he obviously got a little overpaid. I mean.
Oh, little overpaid?
But I think it scares the 49ers to death to not have another quarterback that's decent. Because, what is it? Garcia's the last guy that they've had.
Jeff Garcia
was the last guy they had that was decent.
Colin Kaepernick took another Super Bowl.
Colin Kaepernick. Yep, sorry, Colin Kaepernick. Yes, he did do good as well. I forgot about that. But even after that, Colin Kaepernick kind of fell to the wayside, and they started doing really bad. Colin Kaepernick actually did very well. But not a consistent
But if we're talking about a pocket passer who's going to,
get you somewhere and be they're looking for a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, and again, I think Colin Kaepernick was, but outside of Colin Kaepernick, you had a big old gap between Colin Kaepernick and Jeff Garcia, and then they don't want that again. They don't want to keep looking for that franchise quarterback. They had Alex Smith, yeah. But he didn't.
I think the number one reason they also want to pay Jimmy Garoppolo hardcore money is because Bill Belichick, who's probably one of the best minds in football, knew he had something when he had Jimmy Garoppolo. There was a bunch of articles coming out saying he absolutely did not want to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, but Robert Kraft made him trade him for a 4th-round pick. That's absolutely joking.
Yeah.
It was a joke of a pick. So. In which they could have gotten more, but I think Bill Belichick wanted to make sure he wasn't going to the Browns or some organizations where he felt like he wasn't. So, but my point is, what I was saying with my other thing about Aaron Rodgers is that scares the crap out of me because you have players that now look at Jimmy Garoppolo and go, okay, I can get almost paid $140 million somewhere else. And he doesn't have. What does he have under his belt? Like I said, he got 7 games. He won threw 7 touchdowns and won 5 games in a row. It shows how desperate the league is for a franchise quarterback.
Well, not the league, because...
Well, there's teams that are seriously desperate that haven't had a franchise quarterback in a while, like the 49ers.
But here's the thing. If Jimmy Garoppolo demanded that, then yes, I would be like, well, that's scary because what are these other people going to be demanding that's going to be taking up all this cap space for help that they could have? The thing about this is he didn't demand it; it was given to him, and so I can't sit there and say that it's going to be a bleeding factor that everybody's going to.
No, I'm not saying everybody's going to be asking for that kind of money, but my point is a player that's absolutely worth that kind of money, like an Aaron Rodgers or like a Matthew Stafford, or any player that obviously they're on contracts right now, but any player that we were talking about Drew Brees, he's going to 100% stay with the Saints. He said he doesn't want to leave the Saints. I think he's like, I'm too old now. He's free agent, but I would be very shocked if he went to another team because he's said I'm not leaving basically. So but my point is that
he's got at least. Now he's got it set up now, man. He's got a team around him now.
Yeah. So
with Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara.
And why can't see
now the cornerback, the Michael Lattimore. Yeah, Lattimore.
Yeah,
Marshall Lattimore. I'm sorry. Yeah, Marshall Lattimore.
Why can't I think? Okay. Oh my gosh. Why can't I think of the? You have Alvin Kamara. Why can't I think of the other running back's name?
Oh, now you're going to mess with me. Mark Ingram.
You have Alvin Kamara. You have
Michael
Thomas. You have a freaking team around you. I think that they got their... I will say this, though. Them losing Brandon Cooks was a blessing in disguise. Just like how Carolina losing Travis Benjamin was a blessing in disguise.
Kelvin Benjamin?
Kelvin Benjamin, yeah.
Yeah, I think of Travis Kelce for a second.
No. But back to the 49ers, this is going to be a good litmus test for them next year because they have a it's not a favorable schedule, but it's not also an awful schedule either. At home, they have the Bears, they have the Lions, they have the Broncos, which I'm gonna say, man,
they need a quarterback.
Yeah, like they're usually a team that you look at and say, okay, they'll be able to shake off the dust from last year. But you know what though? This is 2 years in a row. That they've missed the playoffs and have been subpar because of no quarterback. Which, by the way, is that a testament of John Elway and his decision making? We can say, oh, he took him to the Super Bowl. No, Peyton Manning and a good defense took him to the Super Bowl, and the defense has nothing to do with John Elway. So just throwing that out there. All right, next, Oakland. I think they're going to be good next year. I honestly don't see Michael Crabtree staying with them, so we'll see what happens there. And who knows what happens with Marshawn Lynch.
I think he may stay. We'll see. He better do better this year because he's also one of the type of players that's all about his brand and about Marshawn. Yeah.
But you know what, though?
He's a good player. I think he's a decent player.
Marshawn Lynch is playing for fun. Marshawn Lynch doesn't play because he has to play. Dude's already got a ring. Dude already has a name for himself. He's been in the league since 2007. So that's. I hope that they don't put Marshawn Lynch's name ahead of actual talent. So anyway, all right. So they're playing the Raiders next year. They're playing the Giants, which again could be, like I said, I think they're going to win our division next year. I hate to objectively say that, but if they're coming off of the same banged up season with Pat Shurmur as their head coach, we'll see what happens there. They're playing the Arizona Cardinals. Really, right now,
I think that's a win right there.
That's a win right there. They're playing the LA Rams.
That could be a toss-up.
That could be a toss-up. They're playing Seattle. That's a win right there. They're Green Bay. We'll see what happens. Is either they're gonna get a good. Either we're gonna find out that it was Dom Capers or it wasn't Dom Capers the whole time. I think that here's where it gets harder.
But I think sometimes too, he's been in the spot so long.
He's just a big name.
Sometimes you just gotta. Yeah. He reminds me of Eli Manning. You've done good at one point in your career.
Joe Flacco too.
Or Joe Flacco.
Although they're
I think Joe Flacco's even better than Eli Manning at this point.
All right, so here's the thing. You have the Green Bay Packers. They're playing. Now here's where the schedule gets kind of harder. That was our home games. Away is the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, Minnesota. Kansas City and Chargers. City.
Here's the thing. Is Patrick Mahomes going to be the Lord and Savior that Andy Reid is preaching him to be? Alex Smith is gone, went to the freaking Redskins, and Patrick Mahomes it's his turn to step up, but he's got weapons.
I think too with Kansas City, that's going to free up some more cap space for them to look up.
Was the contract that big with them?
I'm sure Alex Smith was putting some money down, not an insane amount, but free some cap space.
But I hope Andy Reid does not artificially inflate Patrick Mahomes' stock based on his word. So we'll see what happens there. They're going to be a team that's kind of. I'll tell you what, the AFC West is going to be a toss-up next year.
Yeah, they really are. They're all over the place.
All right, so here we go. They have away. They have the Kansas City Chiefs. Then they have the LA Chargers, which they were.
Quick. Did Phillip Rivers retire? No, he didn't retire. Okay, I'm thinking of Carson Palmer.
And then we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Arizona Cardinals, the LA Rams. Again, and then Seattle. So they don't, like I said, they don't have an easy schedule.
Their away games are hard.
Yeah, they are.
Their away games are actually difficult.
And especially them having to go up north. Now, the schedule hasn't come out yet. We just know what their opponents are and who their opponents are going to be. So, depending on when they play Green Bay and maybe even Minnesota, they're in a dome now, or at least in an enclosed environment now, so we'll see what happens there. Maybe that might not be a factor. But yeah, that's ridiculous. $86 million guaranteed. Here's what you do:
$86 million. I told him this stat earlier, but that they were saying that that Tom Brady literally in the 5 years he's going to make that money. Tom Brady, it'll took Tom Brady 14 years to make that kind of money.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
Now, if they were like, okay, you know what, Jimmy, we're going to your contract right now. His contract
should have been
worth,
incentive laced, honestly, more than giving him $90 million guaranteed.
Seriously, your contract. It would be cool if I said it's worth up to $86.4 million, and they're like $50 million of that is guaranteed. We'll give you $10 million each year, but you have the potential. That's your ceiling right there. Because obviously, I would understand that, but dang on, son.
I mean, think about this. Like, and I know I say this, but Aaron Rodgers. If you take Aaron Rodgers, and let's say he was a free agent or whatever, and Jimmy Garoppolo, they kept Jimmy Garoppolo, and you have him, literally, how much would the 49ers pay him? Because the thing is, Aaron Rodgers is from California. So,
he is from San
Francisco. Yeah, and so that would... $150 million contract, I'm saying it right now. They would pay him, because they've got cap space. They have all this cap space. They don't really have any hardcore players that are taking any serious money. But, yeah, I'm getting on the cap. Anyway, my point is... With coming up, I think the other biggest reason why this is big is because Kirk Cousins is a free agent at this point, and
I want to see where he lands. Oh, man, they were teasing the idea.
He is going to get some money. He is going. If this is how much Jimmy Garoppolo is getting paid, Kirk Cousins is at least $120 million contract.
No. See, that's not how it works. I'll tell you how it works. Jimmy Garoppolo, he left his stock high, and Kirk Cousins, you know what you're getting.
But Kirk Cousins is
still untested. Jimmy Garoppolo, in my opinion, is still untested.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying my point is Kirk Cousins is tested, and I wouldn't blame their losses on Kirk Cousins. I really wouldn't. Kirk Cousins has been really good this year.
That's the thing with the Redskins, man, is they'll come out and whip a really good team and then lose to freaking... Those just like the Steelers. Then they'll lose to the Jets.
But my point is Kirk Cousins is, bare minimum, in my opinion, is going to, bare minimum, $110 million contract. Bare minimum. Because he has the stats to back it up. He's a good pocket passer. He's accurate. There's no other quarterbacks out there right now outside of him that teams... I mean, we've talked about probably the number one place he's going to go to is the Broncos if they can get workout numbers right.
You know who I think...
but he's probably going to go where the money is. I would not blame him.
He is going to go where the money is. And quite frankly, he does... I don't know if
he deserves the money.
$110 million, but he does deserve the money. Freaking... Here's what I think is going to happen.
Or $90 million guaranteed.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I think the Redskins, because Dan Snyder's an idiot. The Redskins are going to franchise tag him for one more year so that they can trade him. That's my opinion. And that'll be 3 freaking years in a row that Kirk Cousins was franchised. Okay, here...
I don't see it happen because they have to pay Alex Smith as well. And what is that, $35 million? They'd have to pay
but you don't have to franchise tag him that much. You can just franchise...
He'd be sitting on the bench. He'd be enjoying that bench. Hey, if he gets franchised for $35 million and gets to sit on the bench, that is literally the best job you can actually have in the world.
Here's the thing, too. I feel like Alex Smith is like kind of where you're having marital problems, right? But you still got to put on this front that everything's okay at home, and then somebody asks you like, is everything all right? Everything all right, Kirk? Going at home, and then you have to pretend to say, oh man, yeah, everything's going fine, everything's going great. But when you come home,
the wife is complaining to her friends that everything's not. That's Jay Gruden and who's the owner? Dan Snyder. They're calling him Kurt Cousins instead of Kurt
Cousins. Yeah, they're abusing him, and then he's but he has to cry by himself because he's a strong. He's a strong woman. Not that I'm saying he's a woman. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Maybe also, be a good backup for Green Bay. Teddy B.
Oh, that's not gonna happen.
Teddy
Bridgewater said he wants to be a starter.
Well, he's not going to. I'm sorry.
Well,
he's not going to.
I want to talk about this real quick. I want to talk about this real quick because they're in my division, and he's talked about the Giants. I personally think that one that was going to be a pretender, I think that's personally the Vikings. I think the Vikings still have a great. No, they have an insanely good defense. I think they have a good defense. But they're going to have a serious quarterback problem between Teddy Bridgewater, because they love Teddy Bridgewater, and Case Keenum. I don't want to say he crumbled under pressure, but a good quarterback that's going to be solid.
The Eagles. I mean,
well, I know that, I understand that, but when you are playing a good team like that, you have to stay grounded. You can't let the team. It's like when they played the Jaguars, and Blake Bortles just looked like a boiled egg out there. He did good at first, and they were doing well, but then it slowed up, and when he sees the other team coming back, he can't put the same firepower as someone like a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson, someone that's going to be able to keep you in the game. I just don't have that feeling about Case Keenum. I think they beat some good teams last year, and they have a decent wide receiver in the lineup. I think Stephon Diggs is the best player on that team when it comes to receivers. I don't think it's
Kyle Rudolph. I think so.
I think Kyle Rudolph is underrated. I think he's still insanely good.
Adam Thielen?
I'm talking about Adam Thielen. I think Adam Thielen had a good year, but I don't think he's,
Oh, and also, too,
I think Adam Thielen is like, he had spots of like greatness this season, but I don't think he's any star receiver.
I don't think they're going to be pretenders. I think they're going to be just fine next year.
I think they're going to be good. They're going to. I'm not saying pretenders. I'm just saying they're not going. I don't see them going and winning the going into the NFC championship game.
I don't know,
because we would have taken some. The Green Bay would have taken some losses off their win ratio, like they're winning. We would have. I'm not. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But I'm just saying. I think, and they played good teams. I have mad respect because they played what? They played
the Saints.
They played the Saints.
Hold on, let me pull it up here.
They played the Panthers and they played the Falcons. I mean, they played damn good teams.
Yeah, they did.
So they beat the Falcons at home.
All right, so check this out. Again, they weren't just a team.
And the Rams. They beat the Rams.
Despite
they beat the Rams when the Rams were hot.
All right, so check this out. And I'll say this. I think the Minnesota Vikings did not get the respect that they deserve. But, all right, they beat the Vikings week 1.
Well, the Steelers blew the doors off of them.
They did beat the Steelers. Did beat them. But, again, the Steelers are one of those teams that'll be...
I'm not going to count the Saints one. No offense in that one, because that was when the Saints were really struggling at the beginning of the season. I'm not saying that should take anything off, but that's when the Saints really hadn't found their stride. That's before they really realized they were running out. No, it's still a win. I'm just saying, but it's not as good as if they're beating at their prime.
They beat the Bucks. Okay, that was they were still finding their identity. I understand what you're saying. They lost to the Lions, whatever. That's a division game. They beat the Bears, beat the Packers, because of Aaron Rodgers getting hurt. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Browns, whatever. They beat the Redskins. Man, the Redskins.
The Panthers beat them. I'm sorry.
The Redskins put up a fight with them. I remember that game. They beat the Rams. They beat the Lions. They beat the Falcons. The Panthers had them by 7. All right. They beat the Bengals. They beat the Packers again.
I'm sorry about that one.
Whatchamacallit. Now, and then they beat the and then they even beat the Saints again in the playoffs. So I think that they are a good team.
Asterisk on that Saints game though, because that Viking Saints game was close, and that was literally a miracle play. Like that was a miracle.
I don't think it was an asterisk because again, if they were down, if the Minnesota Vikings were down, and then the Saints came back. And then the Saints came up. I understand.
But that's literally almost every Tom Brady NFL Super Bowl. Basically, he's down or he's a lot of the time.
He did win the Patriots Super Bowls because of Adam Vinatieri's leg.
But the Patriots are always one of the reason I'm saying this. A good team that gets down always comes back. Or like the Steelers, you'll see the Steelers. Perfect example. We were playing the Steelers this year, almost beat them, yeah. And they went overtime with a kick twice. They did back in a row. Last thing I want to talk about is what team do we think the number one team is to go to the Super Bowl next year? 3 teams we think could easily go to the Super Bowl next year.
I'm going to say this. I think the Patriots are. I think they're done. I think they're for now. I think their Super Bowl run is going to come to a halt. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna explain why. And I'm gonna. And I know that's
I gotta get this one because they're like the number one. That's considered to still go.
I understand that, and here's not what you're asking. I mean that's not what you were asking. You're asking who's going to be the Super Bowl picks. People digress. People digress. When somebody gets bad, it's not like they're good, and then they're just freaking bad. People transition from good to bad. Tom Brady is at the very height. Is at the very height of him being good, but he's stepped down a little bit, and he's going to keep taking steps little by little down. I think that the relationship between Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady has been fractured. Okay, I think that Matt Patricia, who's the defensive mind right there, leaving the Patriots are going to hurt them. I'm not trying to trash the Patriots. They're very. What they do have going for them is they're in a division to allow them to win. Next, all right, but who's going to be?
Well, I had one thing. One thing I have to say about the Patriots before you. I think the one thing about the Patriots is, I think if you had to lose one of them, Matt Patricia or Josh McDaniels, you'd rather lose Matt Patricia because his defense sucked. I mean, straight up, his defense, they called it a bend don't break defense because it bent bad. It bent so bad it broke them in the Super Bowl this year. Like I think the first 4 games of the season they had the worst defense in the league. Yeah. It was bad. Like every game they were giving up at least 300 yards. So I can agree. I think them being down Matt Patricia might be an actual bonus to them because now they can pick up somebody. If they picked up Dom Capers, that would be really fun. But my point is, I still feel like if you have Tom Brady right now, you have a chance to win a Super Bowl. The guy threw for 500 yards. He was not the reason why they lost that Super Bowl. Yeah, it was because of the defense. He doesn't even have a running game. He's got between Deion Lewis. He lost Brandon Cooks. I mean, the guy is insane.
And he also did lose. He also did lose Gronk in the
he lost Gronk. He lost Gronk.
He lost Gronk, man.
He lost
Gronk.
Give
me my Gronk.
Like, I give Tom Brady a lot of crap because I hate him, but
we're gonna miss him when he's gone. I don't care. When he's gone,
gonna
be like,
I'm gonna be happy. But the guy,
we're gonna miss. I'm not gonna.
I can't stand him because I think
he's a
sore loser. He really is.
So is that your AFC team?
My AFC team is it's got to be because the guy. If you still have Tom Brady and you still have Bill Belichick, you're gonna go. You have a chance to make it. And like I'm not saying he's gonna guarantee win his whole division easily, but yeah, I mean they don't. Tyrod Taylor ain't nothing. I mean Tyrod Taylor. You might have Ryan Tannehill back. Oh, you might have Ryan Tannehill back next year. Yeah, I mean, what is those? Who's in there? The Jets. The Jets. Who do they have? They have
Josh McCown, who did pretty good.
Josh McCown, he played
Robbie
well.
Anderson's in jail, but
Robbie Anderson's gonna be in jail for a while. But
I mean, seriously, but they're not gonna come close to them.
Yeah.
All right, that's your AFC. I'm gonna give you my AFC. The Jaguars.
I was gonna say the Steelers.
Nah, the Steelers are too. They lost with. They did lose their offensive coordinator. So that might be a plus for them. What was his name? I'll think of it in a second. But I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be the guys to go because again those guys are under contract
and they need to do it now because they have a lot of players that they're not going to have 2 years from now. They have too many of those players are. You're going to have to pay Jalen Ramsey. You're going to have to pay...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, freaking Jalen. Yeah, you are going to have to pay him.
You're going to have to pay Jalen Ramsey his money.
No. He's a rookie, though.
But I'm saying when his rookie contract's up...
Oh, of course.
My point is you're going to have players... And that's actually one of the reasons why I didn't pick the Steelers because the Steelers also... You've got Le'Veon Bell, who is a free agent next year, and he wants to get paid. He said he deserves to get paid. He's probably the best on offense outside of Antonio Brown.
Todd Haley. They got rid of
Todd Haley, yeah. Todd Haley, I think is going to... He's in talks for some other place right now. He's already going to get picked up somewhere else. But AFC is... And you picked the... Jaguars. Because they could pick up Kirk Cousins. If they pick up Kirk Cousins...
That's a ready-made team right there.
That's a ready-made team. But they don't really have any really good... They have Marquise Lee...
what are you talking about? Oh, and
Allen receivers.
Allen Robinson is going to be Robinson is going to be a free agent this year. You still have Leonard Fournette.
Now the question is, if that's who we both think, oh God, I love Leonard Fournette. He's a monster, man. Anyway, who do you pick NFC wise? That is way harder, in my opinion, than AFC right now because AFC
they're a juggernaut, man. The
NFC had some. Yeah, the AFC used to be really strong. Now it's the NFC who's got like insane amount of
churn because it used to be Tom Brady, used to be
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, but still no. Even when Joe Flacco was
when
around,
they had Ray Lewis.
Even still when Joe Flacco was around, again Peyton Manning when he was around.
Manning, yeah.
The tables are churning, and the NFC is getting ready to reign supreme again.
Because you get all the new young quarterbacks are getting into the NFC, and they're actually making waves, like Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott.
Matt Ryan. This is his second year on the making the playoffs consecutively. Cam Newton, Drew Brees. I think Jared Goff is still going to continue to be good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Jimmy
He's got
G.
potential. Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm still going to throw him in there. I don't think he deserves the money. I'm still going to throw him in there. There's a lot of offensive juggernauts in the NFC, so that is so hard to call. I'm gonna say the Saints. They are the most equipped to make a Super Bowl run this year. I'm gonna say the Saints.
That's a very safe. I would guess that too. That's. I'm not saying I'm gonna guess that, but that is safe because, like I said, they have what they have the best, one of the best defensive rookie in Marshall Lattimore, and they had the best offensive rookie in Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
This year, so they have
And Drew Brees is thinking, man, I need to retire.
And again, I'm not gonna pick the classic like. I think the problems with the Eagles going back again next year is they're going to have some cap problems, where they're not. They were talking about they're already over their cap limit, going into next year, so they're going to have to get rid of some players. But that's not going to be hard. Let's talk about that real quick. They won the Super Bowl. They're going to have Carson Wentz. They have Nick Foles for a whole another year, and you obviously see how well he played. He obviously was underrated, hardcore. The guy can still play, so. And I think right now,
I don't see them winning the. Again,
I don't see them winning.
I think I alluded to this again, but if you do get in the NFC East, you generally don't have a good follow up year. Nobody has consecutively won that division since 2004. Even when the Giants, when they did win the Super Bowl, like I said, they had weapons back then. Then O.C.U. Manura, Michael Strahan, Justin Tucker, all those good guys. Even when they had Rondé Barber.
I personally think, though, with them, if they don't lose any major players on defense going into next year, they still are going to be a strong team. They have, like I said, they have an insanely good defense.
I'm sorry, I said Rondé Barber.
They have an insanely good defense, and their offense has to be just.
Who's your pick?
I think I'm going. Oh man, you said Saints. That was a really good pick.
I'll argue. They're in a tough division though. That's the only thing.
I think I'm going to have. I'm going to say Cam Newton. I think I'm going to say the Panthers. Oh man, it's so close because literally the Falcons or the Panthers, they're all so close.
It's very, very rare that you get three teams
that are just that insanely good in the same division.
In the same division that make the playoffs and that are that good. And
what about the Buccaneers?
I'll tell you what. I don't know what happened, man. Mike Evans was a shell of himself.
Mike Evans is like the
Deshaun
Des
Jackson didn't do anything.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson had it better than Mike Evans did.
Seriously. What's his face was suspended, I think, at first.
I think if Cam Newton can stay consistent, if he can stay consistent and they can figure out what they're doing on offense for their running back, because Jonathan Stewart sucks a-hole. The guy sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he's their first. And he who's their rookie?
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey. He was doing way more than Jonathan Stewart was. Jonathan Stewart sucks
even
balls.
talking about way more isn't even way more, to be honest with
you. So if they can figure out, if they can get somebody on the offseason, some sort of running back, anything, to help them out, and maybe one other wide receiver, they're going to be good. Their defense is still good with Luke Kuechly. They have a decent defense. It's not horrible.
That dude gets hit in the head one more time. Yeah. Look, 435 yards and 2 touchdowns. Those aren't numbers to.
Well, he was his rookie year, so I'm going to give him a.
So
cut.
He was supposed to be. He was one of the best guys coming out of college. It doesn't necessarily.
He reminds me of Ryan Switzer.
He does.
He looks
kind of like a redneck dude. You know what
hey y'all, come on, get you a good thing on the offense side. But I think they have potential. Even the Falcons have potential. I mean, let's just be honest. The Falcons could easily. I wouldn't be shocked if they won their division. They have a insanely good offense, not defense. But yeah, so I'm gonna say the Cam Newton just because I've got to pick somebody, and he's already picked the Saints. But the Saints would probably be. I think I'm a little bit worried about Drew Brees and his arm. I'm not saying he's horrible or anything like that, but
look, he needs a good tight. They need to draft a tight end and receiver, and that's all they need. To make the playoffs. I mean, Super Bowl. But
I think that's who I'm going to choose. Is because it could be anybody. Like I said, I'm more confident in their defense. I think the Saints is like one of the defenses that are like they either have a really good game with Marshall Lattimore, or it just goes down the pot. Like that's how their defense was this year. So, but with Cam Newton, I'm if Luke Kuechly's in, I feel more confident about it.
Yeah. He makes the difference. He's the Sean Lee of the Carolina Panthers. But, well, guys, that's all we have for you today. Maybe you can listen to this during your commute or whatever, or just have it in the background. But, hey, if you have any questions for us, if there's any other topics you'd like for us to bring up other than football, you can message us if you type in JS804 we're on Facebook and on YouTube. Let us know what's going on. And once again, I am Sam.
And I'm Jordan.
And we are JS804. Thanks for listening, guys.